This meeting to order. Being here. We're going to start the flag salute, and Esmeralda's going to come up and help us with that. She's going to run the show, be in charge. Okay. Hang on 1 second. Let everybody get in here. That work? We're getting ready to do the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. You can take our picture. And do this.
Even told I haven't heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay.
If my laptop doesn't make it, I have paper. So if my laptop doesn't make it, I have paper. You'll print it off there.
Okay, if you guys sit in the front.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Any additions or changes besides the one you sent out that changed our flag saluted?
Nope,
Oh,
everything's good.
I don't like you being at the opposite end. I look over here to talk to you. You're not here. Public comment?
No.
No, that's even better. Okay, we're gonna do presentations. I'd like to welcome Michelle Swearingen to introduce the new Grandview High School ASB office. Oh,
To be speaking for 2020, 2027. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves and what their office is, and then tell you a little bit about. You did add a position this year, because the social media position is getting to be a lot of work. And then cover them in English and in Spanish. We added an extra person, so that two of them are both social media.
Hi guys, I'm Brendan. I'm ASB president this year.
I'm Michaela and I'm ASB secretary this year.
Hi, I'm Zayden. I'm the activities coordinator.
I'm Case, I'm the AP vice president.
I'm Jen, I'm the assistant activities coordinator. I'm Natalia, I'm the assistant treasurer.
I'm Luis and I'm the treasurer.
I'm the social media managers. Page and I'm the other social.
awesome. Thank you for coming. and Thank you for running and becoming that.
Congratulations
We'll probably
on
see
your
more
new
of you.
role.
Spontaneous.
Perfect.
Okay, so this past week we started with the staff shenanigans assembly and that was a really good assembly for school. It got the school really engaged and they had a lot of fun, and that's where the teachers kind of come and run the assembly and do their own little acts, and it was really fun. Everyone really liked it.
You know, we had golf compete yesterday. We had four boy golf.
There was 4 boys who played and then Dutch hit the winning putt to make them district champions. But Grady, Easton, and Rhett made the state, and Easton won districts.
And then state is next week.
Yeah. Easton will be going into state as number 1 seed. So
And this Thursday we have track home meet, and then next Tuesday and Friday we have track districts. It's split into 2 different days, like half the events on Tuesday and the last task on Friday, and that's in Quincy. next
yeah,
week.
and then the following week we have state from the 28th to the 30th in Tacoma.
Next week we have an assembly on Wednesday and we're gonna be planning that for outside in the stadium.
Boys soccer, I was playing Owensburg tonight for third eye districts.
Tennis districts ended today. Unfortunately, we did not make it to state, but there was one who was really close and he competed today. And there was an entire car that went to the sport.
That was a lot of.
The girls golf today, but
Golf today.
yeah, 2 of them.
I saw that in the. I'm not sure how they did, but I know that they were there. To the support.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Just don't have to give you my, I have a code to my leather card. I have a code to my card. I don't remember it, geez. Okay, we'd like to, welcome the GHS band mariachis who have recently won the academic state championship. And you're gonna perform.
Yes. He's not an officer.
Oh, the state
He's an
championship.
officer.
And
It's turn.
other setting up, you want to prove it. Oh,
Look at that, nice.
we're not scary. It's all good.
How you doing? Good.
Great.
So I'm gonna let these guys, this is my leadership core between the two groups. We do have several students who share themselves between both. I'm gonna have them go down the line, introduce themselves. They'll say what position and as an officer they hold and what instruments they play. It's the case may be.
My name is Kel Matheny. I'm the band president, and I play the trumpet, trombone, and euphonium.
Karina Madera, I am mariachi president and the band social media director, and I play the violin, flute, and piccolo.
I'm Gabriel Montejano, and I'm the band treasurer, and I play the trombone.
I'm Maria Mancilla. I'm the band vice president, and I do play the trombone, and I'm your drummer too.
I'm Cora Macias Perez. I'm the mariachi's vice president, and I play the violin and the tenor sax.
I'm Isabel Martinez Solis. I'm the Mariachi social media director. I play Vicuela and alto sax.
My name is Jalen Jaimes. I'm the mariachi treasurer. I play guitar and mouth.
So I just want to share with everyone a little bit of our accomplishments of the year and kind of why this means a lot to me, receiving the academic state championship. It's my 10th year at Grandview High School. In those 10 years, we've always been in the top 5 AA band and orchestra. So it's really nice finally getting over the hurdle and receiving a state championship nod. Our GPA for instrumental musicians at Grandview High School graduation has averaged over those 10 years, well, not this year, 0.27 points higher than the average GPA of the graduating class. And so it's really awesome. Performance-wise, we've been really successful. The band for the 8th straight year has increased our assessment score at regional large group assessment. Always going up, which is awesome, which is what we want to see right for a data-driven district. At the CBC Jazz Unlimited Festival, we placed first among all single A and double A classified bands. And this past weekend, we received first place high school concert band in the 2A division. And then Mariachi, I think, they're a little more well-known. They have made state 7 times out of the past 8 years, including this year, where they received their 2nd consecutive superior rating. And it did again on Saturday. They placed first in their division of Music in the Parks, and Karina was named Outstanding Vocal Soloist. They actually bent the rules. It's supposed to be only a choir award, but they were so impressed by her.
Congratulations.
Other things you should know about our program is not just musicians and they're not just good students. We have 72 students participate between band and mariachi. 42 were student athletes. 21 of those participated in 2 sports. 6 were 3-sport athletes, and 3 participated at the state level, including Kale as a partner athlete for unified cross country. 21 students participate in our CTSOs at Grandview High School, and another 18 participate in our other clubs such as. And on top of that, about half are enrolled in dual credit programs, either Running Start, college and the high school, and just within the instrumental music program, we're set to earn 300 college credits. So I think it kind of reflects that we're not just good musicians and good students, but I really am proud to say that the students that I have tend to represent the best.
Great.
So we're gonna invite mariachi to, they're gonna perform what they performed at state for you. And so if you need to go grab your instrument, do that real quick.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You want to be.
Yeah, I think they need the state.
Oh, really? Yeah, right there in the middle.
The drill. Separate from.
No, no, restaurante, que los traen aquí.
And before they play, I want to point out, while I am their director, this group, it was largely student directed. It's something 5 years ago. Tina and Jalen really took point this year. I'm very happy to say I had very little to do. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Great job.
Thank
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 you.
you. Congratulations. I know, really? Okay.
You know,
Okay, we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. Have a motion on the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Now we get to Worcester Street wanting to spend money. You guys have reviewed it. Any questions or comments?
I think the only question I have is, it tells us about the track, how long is estimated, the longevity, the life of the sport or the track redo. Do we have an estimate if they redo or they resurface the tennis courts, how long they anticipate it could last?
5 years.
5 years?
And when you come in, probably fair them all out.
Thank you.
Maybe longer. We're trying to take care of it.
So what exactly, because it looked like there was a lot of unevenness and stuff. Are they just gonna kind of fill that in or?
We can break some of it down. So the expansion joints and all that existed in the equipment.
Yeah.
Those kind of group. Should will be here.
Oh, okay.
So we'll fill those in, and then open the cracks a little wider to fill them in.
So you don't get water and stuff down inside there, which makes it separate even more and less.
And that's a lot of tennis courts, especially where the standards are at.
Yeah.
You know, but now when you don't have a concrete court, you could park 3 of those courts are concrete. That's why they stay in pretty good shape. I know the surface is all broken, but they're not cracked. They're not as cracked as bad as asphalt. The last one's back shape out there. But
Yeah.
anyway, so we'll repair these. I'll repair 2 of the courts on the standards because they keep so much on them. Fix that. And then take a look at it down the road. 5 to 10 years. Back to the sports. At that point in time, I'd recommend it.
Just redo the whole thing.
We'll see how they look on the last full. With Bryce on board now, he really understands these types of things and his stamp.
What is the price difference between doing concrete now versus later?
The price difference to replace the course is 1.7 million. That would be in concrete. In asphalt would be about 1.4, 1.45. So it is a little bit more than concrete, but it also has its the difference between the 2 numbers actually both concrete. One is a reinforced concrete. It happens to be I'm not saying requirement actually.
Probably has a mesh and it's probably a fiberglass.
So that it
mesh in
doesn't
the
separate
concrete.
it again.
Right.
I know you didn't ask, but on football field, it should last. They had Benny come through and take a look at it also, and I think it a couple of years. But that's
The turf field.
the turf.
Yeah, no, we figured as much. They said they're only good for around 10 or so years, so. Yeah. That's inevitable.
And we have this in our budget for like building and facilities and maintenance and everything, or this was something we weren't planning for.
And we continue to plan for these. So we have the capital projects. Both of these are the capital projects. Just we continue to have the transfers, general fund transfer each year. June.
Okay.
Okay, so a motion on that?
Make a motion to go forward with the high school tennis court repair to the city.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Then we'll go on to the track.
I'll make a motion to go forward with high school track resurfacing and the javelin.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sweet.
Brad's today, I put a gate for shovel. I just haven't go open the gate.
Make it a solid thing. They have to. It's all-
It'll be all in the launch.
Watch it, put a big jump on funding course process. So when they go to throw it, then they go.
There you go. Mr. Darling.
All right, hello board, good evening. So a couple of things to celebrate. We had the Rotary Student of the Year ceremonies last week before school, but
with the top 10 of valedictorian. And then I was at the WASA Superintendent Conference. They actually changed the formatting a little bit. Typically, you would go, it'd be like a typical conference where you have a whole list of different sections you could choose from, different people presenting. After we signed up, they changed the format and where we kind of self-selected into 1 or 6 categories. Then we stayed in that category almost the whole time. And so I didn't necessarily like that because I always want to go there, finding something I can come home and immediately bring to to the district. What I did get out of it is I've actually been pushing them to kind of change the way WASA operates. WASA is very reactive in their legislative approach, in helping superintendents, in supporting others, directors, executive directors. And I said, you know what? What if we were more proactive across the state where WASA was like a WASA in action, where we have 295 superintendents at least that are part of this group, plus the directors and directors. What if we did more to educate all the voters across the state around what works in education, around literacy and the importance of we see drama and music. What if we put the pressure on the politicians by educating the voters, not just talking about specific policies, but talking about here's what works in education. And if you want to support kids in Washington State, you need to vote for people who support these initiatives and these concepts. And so I think they're going to task me with kind of being one of the lead for that.
That's what happens when you complain.
But I mean, we all go and we do 265 individual meetings with politicians to try to get them to change their minds. And our Central Washington legislators are great, but they get drowned out by the Eastern Washington legislators. I mean, Western Washington. So we can be more unified as a state in what we need from legislation. I think we're really. Although I didn't get what I was hoping for, I think big picture, I think.
Well, it'll be a learning process, right? You got to be able to do it, be able to know whether it's worth continuing.
George received every year ESD 105 gives the Chef Brian Winter Safety Award. So George received that award for secondary schools. I received an email. He and I received an email from the ESD a couple weeks ago saying, "Hey, just so you know, we'd like you both to make sure you're at this meeting." I couldn't be there because it was a Rotary awards. And she said, "Well, as long as George is there." But at the awards, I said, "So, hey, did George tell you about his award?" He goes, "George is here." And I said, "Was he on the Zoom?" "No, he never gets on those things." I said, "Well, he's receiving an award right now." And Lupe is going to be there heckling him. So Lupe was there to heckle George, getting this award, but George didn't go. So George will be sometime receiving this award for it. But he's done a lot of great work. Before Lupe came on board and since around safety and security work. And then we had I couldn't make it to the community award, but we have really Villarreal, Extra, Pita Saleza, Jane Graff, Karen Prieto, Mark Beal, and Lupe Martin all received recognition. Congratulations, Karen. Next year she'll have to do it in a different role, but we have to worry about because the high school staff aren't talking to me right now. Stealing her, so kind of getting the shine. Brad, do you want to give a report, an update on the
Yeah, with the exit on Monday. Well, no concerns at all. They were across the board. All of the Title I and the special ed, the federal side of it. Excited.
That's a super indicative of. If you think an audit meeting is boring, an audit meeting where they found nothing is even more boring. So you didn't miss anything. Upcoming events, we have the WASA South Central Regional Banquet team, top 10 valedictorian Rotary Student of the Year on the 20th of high school, migrant student recognition event on the 21st, school on the 22nd. We have a board study session here on the 5th, the 5th and the 6th. Baccalaureate on the 27th, senior awards night on the 29th, 8th grade recognition on the 2nd, graduation on the 3rd, and we take a break for something.
And get after it.
That's what it's.
Well, one thing to add on the events, on the 16th, this Friday, there's $1 for scholars scholarship thing they're giving out and the wall.
Hmm.
So that's at the high school at, that starts 6,
7, 8.
you know?
I think it's the 15th, right?
It is,
Right.
oh, for some reason I was thinking that was 16, so the 15th.
Friday at 6.
It's
At 6. Anyway, that happening that evening.
And I'll be coming home from
Awesome. Any questions, comments? Okay, so, policy review, it's the first reading, so you guys can read that. When you get time.
And I will have the SAC group that oversaw the policy will be at the next one. If you have questions beforehand,
Actually, just in reviewing it, I do see that they're presenting it as a framework, because we have some existing policies in place. I guess my question is, do we want to add some timelines in regards to reviewing and responses? So we have a little bit more definition of what reasonable review of, the situation and circumstances are and things like that.
so they brought this policy to cabinet several times, and the principals as well. And the recommendation to them was don't be too constrictive in the language and what you're putting in there, a little bit more vague in some of those areas. That way this school district is like included in a student handbook or something. We have some flexibility to adjust there. And Greg, I had Greg look it over as well. So if you can provide me some more language on that, I could ask him what his thoughts are around that.
Or even if they have recommendations, I know this is very unique and this is new, and I appreciate that our students are putting in that time and effort to do this. And what I want to do is honor their time also, if they're coming in and saying, we do have something that came up, when should we expect a reasonable amount of time this year? What would this look like?
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, there are already standards for what timelines we need to refer to, like hit complaints and stuff.
Mhm.
So we have
Those,
followed
yes.
the same.
And the
we follow
civil
same
rights.
timeline.
Okay.
Mhm. Yes,
Would that be more in the procedure? More policy?
Yeah.
Or in the policy?
It'd be more
the procedure.
It usually policy has the basis and then the procedure takes down to how you. No, the freedom. Yeah. Make it work. Okay, we're gonna go to Michelle for our, board assessment. See how easy that was?
Yeah.
All you have to do is write that on the top, put your name to it and send it in.
Made some
I love
comments.
it.
No, I just feel like, it's very friendly, it's very welcoming. The kids get a little nervous, but I think that by the time they've done it a few times, like, they would probably do too much today. You make them feel like they're important, they're safe and important. Just gives them a lot of validation to all the things. That's kind of what I just know, like you guys have the best interest of all of us. But I think the intent is always.
No person, you're really cool.
Thank you.
Just try to on the spot.
I know. Are you going to, and one thing that I was kind of curious about now that I get to see all of the board members, we used to only see probably majority of 2 that would show up to give us information. I'm curious if you could maybe rotate them.
Yeah, we try. The biggest problem we run into is that most of them are active.
Yeah,
And so a lot of times, like there was Tuesday night basketball, Tuesday night volleyball. So like Jaylee Dill was president this year. We didn't see her a lot until later in the year because she had volleyball on
yeah.
Saturday. So we try to rotate, but it just kind of depends on who's available. And then there's a couple that always want to go to everything, so I always have to say, let somebody else. They do Rotary Wednesday, and there's a couple that always want to go to Rotary. Hey, let's take turns and maybe it's a chance, but we'll try to rotate them.
Anyway,
Maybe like Brendan and Case, and then.
awesome.
I do want to applaud the efforts too that we're expanding out the social media to English and Spanish and having, that extra position to acknowledge that does take time and effort as well. So.
Well, we have a meeting once a month. It's called LAB, Valley Association of Student Councils. We meet once a month with other ASB teams, and so they were talking about in East Valley, they even go further, they have languages, I guess they have the Indian language. They're in church or something. They're trying to get all of them. I feel like we're pretty good with English and Spanish. So,
Yeah, they have a Sikh temple being dedicated.
yeah, that's what I mean, yeah. that's
Okay.
what- yeah, so then they have to get all of them, so. I think that, yeah, it's just something that we need to do a better job of, so we talked about it, and poor Michaela, she's secretary for next year, but she was for field media this year. She did a great job, I mean, probably the best job that we've had, anybody, but she's kind of drowning in all of it, trying to get all, and then some people get a little, we didn't post my thing, okay, well, let's go ahead and have time if you have time, but then adding Spanish, I think there's just no way
Yeah.
that we're just gonna do it. So next year we'll probably make it, so these two will do it this year, and then they'll both be able to run again next year. We'll make it like a head and assistant and have the bubs.
Awesome. So we'll go, from the board.
I went with Betty Palmer last Wednesday to the regional CTE meeting up in Ellensburg. A lot of good information. GSD 105 has a team dedicated to CTE that help our CTE directors do things. I think they file a lot of paperwork for us, make it easier for here. And I have heard about them and heard names, but I got to meet them all. It's nice to put faces to the names. So one of the big talking points for some of the people that were there was non-CTE accredited teachers coming into CTE and how hard it is for them to get their certification. And there was a gal there from PLU that I think was listening and maybe is going to see if there's a way to make that easier. It was a pretty good conversation that they were having.
Couple things, I did do the thing with Rob for the Rotary. We went around to middle school, to McClure, to the high school.
Thank you, Michelle.
CLC. And one thing I want to tell you about CLC, the girl that got it in CLC got it in middle school. Then she got it again in CLC. So she may have had a couple, bumps in the road. She's turned her stuff around. She wants to go into YBC and she was telling her story and wants to become a teacher. So that was pretty cool to see. And then we went to McClure. They have a neat little thing. Went to Smith School. The two kids that got it were in the same class, which was pretty cool. Miss Marcus's class, who was actually my kids' teacher, and actually my daughter's teacher. She's been there 30-some years. She did a great job. She didn't just recognize the two students because she brought her whole class out. She actually talked about all the students and how much they could do to improve themselves and how well they've done. So I thought that was pretty good instead of trying to just not alienate, but show praise for two that are in your class and maybe not the others. She actually tried to include the rest of them. So that was pretty cool. Did go to the thing on Friday night at the senior center and thought I felt bad. There was some people that had to leave because the thing just drags on too long. But I'm not going to make a suggestion like Rob did because then they'll want me to get involved in it and I don't want to do that. So, but it dragged on and there was people that didn't even get to be there for the award. I thought it was sad.
Lupe's award on my desk.
Yeah, so I kind of felt bad because he made the effort to get there, but his babysitter was a certain time or something, and it ran out and he had to go. So that was kind of a bummer. A lot less people than normal, but I normally see, but that was pretty cool. But anyway, that's what I know of.
Wasn't Chuck recognized for something?
Yes, Chuck was the person of the year and will ride in the float as the float or the parade grandmaster or whatever.
Wow. Congratulations.
Drive the float to being on the float.
Yeah, yeah. You could do that. Drive the girls in the float, and then you could be the thing. Then you have a hat and everything. There we go. We can get it to run all the way.
Been a
through.
few years.
It's probably the same float, isn't it?
It is. You think I can crawl down in that hole?
Oh yeah, Cheesecake Chuck have been in lots of times.
You might have to help me out.
Yeah, getting in is not a problem. getting out. Could be an issue. So anyway, it was a good night. Anything else from the board? Anybody else from the board?
I just wanted to share that I watched the Counted Out documentary. I do appreciate being able to view that. I wasn't able to make it to the PD because I was actually in a PD that day. And I love that the documentary brought to light the connection of how math is integrated into everything that we do. We often have heard kids question, why do I need to know this? Why do I need to do this? I'm never going to use this. And it did a good job of tying in how we use this in everyday life and also how it is being utilized in so many areas like politics, and everything too, and why it's important for us to understand what's happening when it comes to mathematics, the inequities there. And something that I think is important, just like thinking of educators, is how our words matter. There was one of the ladies that spoke on there shared how she was told she wasn't good at math, and she kind of kept that in her mind. Even as an adult, she has experienced anxiety around mathematics because of this foundation, this concept that she, constructed when she was younger. So how we approach it, how we talk to our students, how we talk to our parents so that they talk to their children, that it's not you're a math person or not a math person. You can do this. We just got to give you the right tools and the right ways, and strategies. So anyway, I appreciated being able to see that. I'm kind of curious how our staff's reactions were, I guess.
Yeah, so we had some really good conversations. So I just posed some questions after the show, and so they were able to talk and what resonated with you, what jarred you, what questions do you have, and then they followed up in their buildings around this. And so there were good discussions. There were some teachers that were still trying to kind of blame the kids, if you will. Like, well, we should have this track for those kids that really are math minded and those who don't, this and that. So I try to dispel some of those things. Like, the movie said all kids can do math.
Yeah.
We just have to find the right way and the right channels to reach them and connect with them. And so furthermore, what we're going to be doing is in August, when we start back up, we're going to spend quite a bit of time talking about math instruction, the words, our approaches, because there are still some mindsets in the district where if you're fast, you're good at math. And if you're not, if you can't do mental math like this, then you're dumb, or you're not a math literate person. And so we're trying to change that mindset that everyone can and will do math at the right time, and so we're gonna do some work around that still.
There is some truth to the efficiency, but again, being able to get to the solution is our important.
Yes,
right?
And this whole notion around experiences before concepts. A lot of times we throw concepts at kids and hope it sticks like spaghetti, but we really got to give them those experiences because not everyone comes from the same background, the same lived experiences, shared experiences. Some families are more resourced than others, and kids are more their demographics, right?
Yeah.
Their demographics are things that have happened to them, but they still have the opportunity to change their trajectory moving forward. And so that's our job and our charge to create those opportunities for them and saying you can do math, you will do math, and at the same time not lower the standard. I've always heard that, pity is slow poison. Kids don't need pity. We need empathy, we need understanding, and we need to figure out how they learn and what makes them tick. And some that's gonna be relevant. Like in that movie, I showed different examples of how to connect those concepts with real life lived experiences. Like when they did the tour, the algebra project, and then they were able to graph and grid and all those things because they had something to connect to. And so we have to create those shared experiences with kids. And so I think the biggest challenge, just personally speaking, is going to be at the high school where teachers are really married to their content and not kids a lot of the time. So I'm really going to really push to that we teach kids math, not we teach math to kids.
Right.
And it's a big difference. And so we're not done with that concept or that idea or that work around that. That's just like the tip of the iceberg to get us all thinking as a district collectively where we want to go with math instruction. So more to come on that.
Oh, I appreciate that. I love to see how we progress in that because again, I think we know as a nation we are not performing very highly in math, right? And in Washington State as well. So I'll be curious to see how this movie impacts, not just this documentary, but in general, how that impacts our district. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
When you think about it, everything that Tony does and Scott does is all math.
Yes.
fractions and rhythms. I mean, and kids don't get that. They're like, well, I'm no good at math. And he's like, well, yeah, you can do 6/8, do 5/8, do
Yep.
3/4,
Yeah.
cut time.
It is.
Oh, math.
Can I share?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So I've been teaching songwriting for the past 3 trimesters. Every trimester, I'm struck by how much it is like I'm teaching them.
Yeah.
Because what am I going to do every day? Foundational skill, foundational,
Mhm.
foundational skill. And I've been reading the Nobel Prize winning, I just discovered was Nobel Daniel Kahneman. It's called Thinking Fast and Slow. He talks about system 1 and system 2. What it means is we have stuff that's just in our intuition. Like if I said what's 2 plus 2, you can tell me what's 4. You don't have to think about it. If I said what's 17 times 24, you have to think about it. System 1 versus system 2. So what I'm trying to do with kids is move my stuff, as much of it as possible, into system 1, so that their brain can do actual thinking of what I want them to think. It's like you're not sitting there trying to figure out my system, the basics. Think about the concept that I want. So with the math, it's the same thing, right? If I'm in algebra but I don't know my times tables, if I'm spending all my mental energy on my time tables instead, one of these is my next one. But it's just exactly the same problem. Just the same.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, math isn't everything we do. It's just, do we actually, take the time to think about it? Like you said, I was introducing patterns to a group of parents the other night, and we were talking about how you see patterns in music, you see patterns in colors, you see patterns in everything. And it's interesting just to have some of the conversations, with parents as well, but we're trying to help them at the younger level to set the foundation and to help them set the foundation with their children at home. Again, don't tell them they're not a math person. I even reflected on a few things where I'm like, oh, when we were changing to WASL testing, what was it? Maybe it was WASL testing and WASL verbiage. I was like, I remember being, saying a couple things that maybe led to anxiety with our children. So I'm like, anyway, just things that we can do to change the narrative a little bit and to change the mindset. I think.
Well, and on that note, did I interrupt you? No. Okay. And I was going to share this at another time, but I was talking with Rick Maloney, and he's been working with the GSD over there, analyzing SBA data, and they have a category where they provide a rating for students based on the level of poverty in that school district. And there's an index they use that is actually a predictability where if students come from a community that has a certain level of students in poverty, the predictability is they're going to underperform by this percentage. And he said, and he shared this with me, that they took all the data from all the districts that were like, they kind of did the medium and high districts and the small districts. Small districts are one group. We were in the medium, so we were comparing against all the medium schools and high schools in the state. And for our math scores last year in the SBA as a district, we were ranked 128th overall in the medium and high district as our outcome. But when they took our growth and they also factored in this poverty index, we were the #1 in the state. The whole state of Washington, from medium high. And that we beat, the reason why he said that is because he was second. So, but it goes Grandview, University Place, Mercer Island, Bainbridge, Everett, Issaquah, Pullman, Lake Washington, Bellevue. Various absolute school districts, they're all factors by them. But we, because of our student growth in math, we're in the high. And then in ELA, when we weren't as high, in ELA, we were, I think we were in the top 20 in the whole state in ELA. Yeah, we were 19.
Yeah.
He sent it to me because they were number. But all things considered, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out a way how to package this so we can the community can understand what this means. So I'm working on that for my next strategic plan highlight. But
You were 19th.
Yeah.
You're 19th in ELA.
You're 19th in ELA. Yeah. When you consider all the different factors too.
Well, you get the fun side of math. I'll say that. You get the fun side of math. And I will say, I was listening to NPR this morning, and it happened to say that people who are involved in arts, whether you're playing the arts, going to, watch the arts and things like that, you age at a slower rate. Don't know how they came up with it. I just heard it, as I was getting ready. So take it for that part of it. But I was like,
Tony's 75.
Nice. Hopefully our youth will stay youthful.
One last thing from the board, before the next meeting, we need to have, pick 2 or 3 policies, send them in, and then I'm gonna pick, some out of that, and then we'll decide at the next meeting which one we're gonna bring to our,
This is
Our
our
little-
June meeting, right?
yes,
Not the 26th.
the 26th.
Okay.
Because then we have, so this is just ones that you want to be reviewed, and then what I'll do is whittle it down to 5 or 6. I'll get with Rob, we'll whittle it down to 5 or 6, and then we'll let you know which ones they are so that you can be prepared for the study session we have.
Yeah.
So we need to have those.
Got some reading to do this.
There you
weekend.
go. I looked through a few today, and I'll tell you what, there's a ton of them. I'm not sure why you need all of them on some, because it seems like they're repetitious on, I don't know. But anyway, that may be something to clean out too.
The thing that surprised me in the 3,000 group, there were 7 of them that had a adoption date of 1999 on.
Hmm.
They haven't been updated?
They haven't
yet?
been updated.
Well, they have adoption, and then if you look at the beginning of Chuck, because I've seen that too. There were some that were developed in 99, but if you look at either the first page or whatever, it'll say last update.
Yes.
Like then it
On-
said
on the bottom.
2007.
Yeah, but there were some I found that had never been updated.
Oh, never been updated. So anyway, I don't think we ever updated them unless WASDA would come tell us to do something with it. And I think, so anyway, that's what we're gonna do.
Yep.
So anyway, do that. And, anything else from the board? So now we're gonna move on to an executive session where you guys don't get to be a part of it anymore. I'm sorry.
Thank you for.
Thank you for being here.
Yep, thanks for staying.
I would much rather leave with